Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Omega Seamaster Ploprof 1200M Co-Axial Master Chronometer. Ooh, that's a long name for a watch, it sure is. This is a new model for 2015. There's a couple of different versions, and this is one of several remakes of the original Ploprof, which is probably one of the most famous cult dive watches in the world. Omega has a lot of great dive watches, both currently in their history, and there's really never enough dive watch love that a dive watch lover can give. And this is a piece that has so many elements to it, it's difficult to really talk about them all. First of all is the case shape, which is very strange, sort of from the 1970s. And the idea was to have a crazy water-resistant watch with some features that professional divers at the time wanted. So one of them was this crazy crown guard. So the crown, of course, is on the left side versus the right side of the watch. And basically the way that works is this guard opens up with it, right? So it's not something that pulls out, it just sort of opens up with the crown, and then as you screw the crown back in, this guard goes with it, which is a nice feature. It's really, protects it from, I guess, bludgeon, things that could happen. If you just hit this against something, it's supposed to protect it. And of course you have this little pusher here, which allows you to turn the bezel. And what's interesting, when you push it down, you can turn the bezel in either direction. Now, you may recall the newer Ploprof, and I think I even reviewed it a couple years ago in aBlogtoWatch. I think it came out in 2007. It was the modern version. People were very excited because the originals were difficult to get. They weren't in great condition, and a lot of the elements of the watch weren't made with today's materials. For example, this little orange part on the pusher was, I think, plastic or something like that, and they didn't age too well. Now it's made with a little bit of an aluminum ring here around metal. The 2007 Ploprofs had the same water resistance of 1,200 meters, and of course look the same for the most part, but otherwise there's a lot of differences. New movements, new materials, and some new little tricks in sort of the 2015 version. So I think the biggest major change, in addition to the movement, is the fact that rather than being in steel, the 2015 Ploprofs, and again there's some different color variations as well, are in titanium. And that's not only titanium for this 55mm wide case. Look at that. It looks cool. I mean, I happen to love the Ploprof. Look at that. It's like a science fiction thing on the wrist. It looks like a little spaceship, doesn't it? I love that. Like, imagine this was like the front of the spaceship right here, kind of. Okay, I see it. Anyways, so titanium case and titanium mesh metal bracelet. Now, some people have criticized this bracelet for feeling what they actually say is cheap, and I thought to myself, why do they think it's cheap? It's tapered, it's very smooth, and I think the reason they feel that the bracelet is cheap is because these titanium mesh metal bracelets aren't common, at least I've never seen one, and it feels light. And so that's really the thing about this watch. Even though it's not a light watch, it's a lot lighter than the steel version because it's titanium. The 2007 version had a sapphire crystal for the bezel insert. This one is ceramic, so that's new. The dial is more or less the same. Of course, there's some little bit new text on there, and there's no date. So purists will like the fact that there's no date at all on the dial. The lume is excellent, and the dial is very cool. This white and blue version, again, is not for everyone. I'd say that the most sort of classic conservative model is the all black one, but I think there's 4 different color variations for 2015. If you don't like this titanium bracelet, it's not for everyone. It feels nice, but there's also a rubber strap. Now, this particular version of the watch is a prototype, so the bracelet's a little bit too long for me, but I wanted to show you some things about the clasp. So the clasp is that nice big chunky clasp. This one has a couple of issues because, again, it is a prototype, but it has a diver's extension here and a micro adjust. So there's the micro adjust, and then the diver's extension comes out like that. So you have both of those features on there, and I've always liked this clasp a lot. It's always a nice, very sturdy clasp that I like. And again, you have that ratcheting feature there of the micro adjust. Now, here's something that people don't really think about when they first see the watch, but look there, you can see through the back, you can see the movement. How many watches that are water resistant to 1,200 meters do you know that have a sapphire crystal case back? I can't think of any. That's pretty deep. to have a sapphire crystal that, again, the reason they don't have sapphire crystals on watches that are meant to dive this deep are the fact that they would shatter. So how Omega gets around that, I'm not entirely sure. Again, none of us are going down to 1,200 meters, which is, how many feet is that? Wow, that's 4,000 feet. That's really deep. That just seems insanely deep. But anyways, so one of the reasons that they make the movement visible is that this is one of the first master coaxial watches. So there's a couple of other master coaxials. There's the Aquaterra, and there's a few others, including the Globe Master, of course, which is a master coaxial. And there is this dive watch. What is master coaxial? Well, master coaxial combines Omega's coaxial escapements with their new very highly anti-magnetic system. They call that master coaxial, and they show the movement because the whole idea of master coaxial in terms of the anti-magnetic properties is that it's not shielded. The movement is visible. It's just literally not something which is particularly sensitive to magnetism. So the movement here is the in-house made Omega caliber 8912. It's an automatic movement. And Omega's in-house made movements have really been pretty good. I really like them. I've always found them to be very accurate and quite reliable, and also very nicely made. I always think that the decoration on there is quite attractive. You can see sort of they have those slightly kind of spiraling stripes that come out from the middle there, especially in the automatic rotor and the rest of the movement. I just think it looks really nice, and when I do this sort of full review with pictures, I'll be sure to get some really great pictures there of the movement. So in addition to the fact that this is highly anti-magnetic, this watch is very, very water resistant. You can see there also, there's, on the other side, the helium escape valve. In case you were missing it, don't worry, it is in fact there. So you can see that there's a lot of upgrades in this model over the 2007 reissue of the Ploprof. If you have that model, is it worth, quote-unquote upgrading or swapping out for one of these? Maybe, especially if you feel that the older model is a little bit on the heavier side because it's titanium. If you want the movement, if you feel that this cleaner dial without the date is a little bit more interesting for you, or if you just happen to like some of the new colors a lot. I am a big fan of the Ploprof, and I was really excited when Omega came out with this one. So for me, this is definitely cool. Do you have to own every single one? Probably not, but I think that Omega lovers, especially those that love dive watches, it'd always be cool to have at least one Ploprof in your collection. Again, as a sport watch, a lot of the finishing elements are great. There's a beveling here on the edges. Omega did a really good job at making this, it's essentially a kind of a nerdy dive watch into something that looks really great and has a lot of fashion appeal in addition to sort of that cult dive watch lover appeal. Price for this one, this is actually the entry-level model, and it is pricey. It's $12,600, and it goes up to $18,000 for one that has a little bit of gold in it. So again, definitely not cheap, but a lot of cool features in here, some cool technology, and a great movement. And again, this is the Omega Seamaster Ploprof 1200M Co-Axial Master Chronometer, and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch soon. Thanks.